Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Paulo here again. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I mix and master my Afrobeats. What I have here is a project that I opened. I haven't finished it yet. What I've done is I've just exported the sounds that I'm using as WAV files to, clear space. So I don't use up too much RAM on my computer. And then I just put them in a mixer and they're pretty much dry. Except that I just put a small EQ on the kick, take out some of the high end. Everything else is just some EQ to cut out some low end on the percussion loop that I'm using. Then I boosted, this is where I think the congas are hitting, and then the hi-hats and the shakers hitting there. Everything else is pretty dry. This is just another drum um, loop that I added just to add some variation. I just cut out some of the really low ends. Everything else is just pretty dry. This is a perk. I put some reverb, delay, some EQ, cut out a lot of the low end actually. The 808, cut out I think only 25 hertz, just a little bit. Those extra low 90, and all the sounds is pretty much, I didn't do anything to them. I've already EQ'd and put the effects on them, and this is what it sounds like. It's gonna sound like a mess, and excuse me if it's loud. Okay, so you hear everything's just clashing, everything doesn't sound good at all. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna level it, which means I'm gonna put all the sounds down and then add them one by one so they're all hitting where I want them to hit. So I turn down everything, turn down all the levels on the mixer track. Then what I do is I go to the master and I bring up the main master channel fader. I bring it up to like about 5 dB. And what this does is that I mix at a high level and then I bring it down. So when I throw on my mastering effects, when I raise the volume with my limiter and everything, it's all loud, but the sounds aren't distorted. There's no clipping. Everything still sounds clean. It sounds really loud. So when I'm mixing these things, what I usually start with is the melodies first, and I add the drums because the drums they will dictate the groove. They set the rhythm and everything, and the melodies just kind of add to them. The drums are much more important, so I bring them up one by one. Oh, actually, let me show you what I do. I almost forgot. I have a drum bus. I think this is just a Slate Audio, their virtual mix rack, and I throw it on my all my drums and my percussion. It just makes the drums tighter. To add some EQ, some compression, it makes them really hit. So I select all of them except the reverb clap. I don't want them to be on that. I'm gonna select all of them, and then I just right click here, route to this track, and it just makes them much sharper, makes them hit a lot harder. Virtual, yeah, just drum bus tight and punchy from Slate Digital Audio. So let's start. Let me pan this. Okay, so what I've done now, I brought all the melodies up until they sounded good, and they all sound okay in the stereo space. And then you see I've done some panning. If you don't know, panning is when you take the sounds and you send them to the right or the left of the stereo space. Maybe so if you're wearing headphones, you'll see that it goes to the left or to the right when I play it. And this just creates more space for the kick and the bass, which are mono and which hit right in the middle, just creates more space for them. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna start adding the drums one by one. Actually, I might cut some more low end out of this. Now let's bring in the 808, the bass. Now let's bring in the kick. I always set the kick. A lot of people think that the bass and the 808 it drives the melody, and it does, but the kick has to punch through more than whether it's a sub bass that you're using or an 808. Sounds good. So then I turn it to mono. What mono does, it makes a stereo space as if you're only listening to it out of one ear. So when you see I turn the knob like this is what it's going to sound like if you're listening to it inside one headphone. And this is good, so you know exactly where everything's sitting in a realistic way. Perfect. Now so now what I do is I actually have in my producer booster bundle kit, I actually have the presets that I use for my master chain. I have one that I use with T-Rax, and I have one that I use with Waves. And I even have with stock plugins, with the plugins you get as you typically use FL. But let me do it for you, so you hear how it works one after another. So here we go. I start with the soft clipper. What this does, it makes when the 808 and the kick it punches into it, just makes it sound much tighter. See, it's subtle, but it just gives it much more life. So what I do is I come down a little bit and I just add another parametric EQ. I go to the 20 hertz and I just cut out maybe about 25, just a little bit, just those extra muddy low end, and makes it, when we turn up the volume, when I run it into the limiter, it makes it sound distorted and not clean. So I just cut out those extra low. It's also very subtle, but it's effective. So what I do is I run it into the brick wall limiter. And what I do is I set it to -5 dB up here, so it doesn't pass this level, doesn't pass that level, and then I just run it into it. And by increasing input into the output, what it does, it makes everything louder, but still keeps them in the same space that I used when I was leveling them. So listen and check it out. Everything is much louder, it's much cleaner, but everything's still in the space that I pan them and put them in. It's very important. And then something else that I do, which you don't have to do, but it just adds a little more, just some saturation. What saturation does, it adds a lot of some high-end frequencies, would just make it just a bit sharper. And there it is, nice and simple. That's how I mix and master the majority of my beats, unless it's a project with some vocals in it. Maybe I'll do that in the next tutorial. But you can get all these mastering presets and some stock mastering presets in my producer booster bundle kit, a link which I'll put in the description below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what else you're looking into, what kind of videos you're looking for, if you want some actual beat making tutorials or anything else. You'll be getting much more of these tutorials regularly from me. Okay guys, that's it for this tutorial. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the finished beat on the outro. Ooh, yeah.